That nigga stole on you that from the stop.
He's in the mix.
Yo, nigga hit you like a ref hit you.
I think I see you.
Hey.
Let's make a headshot.
Man down, man down.
Make a headshot.
Man down, man down. Right there.
The best. I promise you, none of these niggas gonna beat me. None of them. I'm gonna make an example out of Tio. That's the only thing I love. I promise they got me up.
This is honestly the most flawless from 123 all the way down to 114. Since then, he's had.
Shakur Stevenson has put on noticeable weight, building muscle as he gets ready to face Teofimo Lopez at a 140 pounds catchweight on January 31st.
Time away from my family. How you gonna beat me? Ain't no way you can beat me that way, bro. Keep saying I'm the best. Because I don't want this shit more than me. I know it. I know it. I want this so bad. So bad. Shit easy, yeah.
Easy, man.
Easy.
Always easy, man.
You already know.
Always easy, man.
This supposed to be a sprint.
Let's go.
This ain't no sprint.
No, it's a job. Let's go. We ready.
Determined in his training camp, he pushes his limits relentlessly, hones his skills, and builds strength to dominate in the upcoming fight.
Both legs, bang, hit it for 3. We rested, we did 3 more. And we're trying to get that 1.0 meters per second, maximize our power. I had you at about 120, 125, but we're gonna add some reps and lighten the weight a little.
Terence Crawford frequently trains with Shakur Stevenson, mentoring him, sharing techniques, and sparring intensely, pushing Stevenson to sharpen his skills, strengthen his mindset, and build resilience through challenging sessions that offer invaluable lessons.
How was this at my There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go.
God
Here you go, bro. He trying to run me into the wall. Y'all didn't see that? He's trying. Man, I performed. You know that. I told y'all what I was gonna do. I was gonna come out here and beat his ass.
Shakur Stevenson focuses intensely on enhancing his speed, refining his footwork, punches, and reactions to dominate opponents with quick, precise movements. Teofimo Lopez acknowledges that Stevenson is exceptionally talented at 135 pounds but voices doubts about his performance at 140 pounds, saying only the upcoming fight will show how well he adapts.
Since then, he's had his shares of victories. I think 135 was his top tier. 140, I think we just gotta wait and see. You know what I mean? And for him to even come up to do that, you know, I think he deserves his flowers for everyone else out there. You know, guys trying to go more down into the ranks of top 5, top 3, and eventually top 1 for pound.
But that ain't what you said, bro.
What'd I say?
I gotta remind you, you said basically I'm good at the lower weight classes. The only way that I'm going to be good is I fight at 126 pounds against guys like Inoue. But once I move up, you're gonna, I can't compete at this level at that weight class.
Antonio Tarver approaches this matchup with the caution of someone who understands boxing beyond records and recent performances. From his perspective, Teofimo Lopez cannot be judged solely by his last few fights. Tarver emphasizes that Lopez still possesses natural gifts that cannot be trained into existence. His speed, strength, and explosiveness remain intact, making him a threat to anyone in the division. Tarver warns that danger doesn't vanish simply because confidence wavers. A fighter with Lopez's athletic ability needs just one opening to completely change a fight against a technician like Shakur Stevenson. Any moment of hesitation or miscalculation could prove costly.
Smart money would be on the boxer, Shakur Stevenson, winning the decision. But, if Lopez can make this fight, a lot tougher than expected, and he's going to have to exchange with Shakur. He's a fast fighter. We don't know who's the quickest or fastest here. You have to give the speed edge to Shakur. But if Lopez can punch with this fast guy, make him a little bit cautious and a little bit leery of what's coming back, that serves him well. But Teofimo is one of the best conditioned fighters out there. If this fight goes late, you can expect him to be pushing forward round 9, 10, and 11 if it goes late.
Yeah, a big question is always like what Teo is going to show up. And like when everyone's counted out Teo, it's actually been the times where he's like upset people, like against Lomachenko, against Josh Taylor, fights to the level of his competition. And I've been thinking like, hey, if we get the best version of Teo, like the Teo that showed up for those fights, does that Teo beat the best Shakur?
It would have, I think that's the only chance he got, is to really be his ultra self, doing all the things that makes him Teofimo Lopez. The footwork could be a major advantage for him. Being able to get inside. A lot of times he fights free. He don't really have a style. He does what it takes. And he's a gutsy fighter. Real gutsy. He's not going to be leery to take chances. He's a gambler in there. You know what I'm saying? So he's a live underdog, I would say. A live underdog, but if he's to win this fight, I think
Zab Judah views this fight as a true collision of elite talent rather than a battle fueled by hype. He sees two competitors equally committed to proving their superiority, neither willing to yield mentally or physically. From Judah's perspective, this isn't a fight where size or power alone decides the outcome. Instead, it's about who can impose their skill set under pressure. Both fighters are known for their confidence and discipline, a combination that promises a contest full of adjustments and intensity. Judah believes that the refusal of either fighter to back down elevates this bout, turning it into a genuine test of ability rather than just a showcase.
It's two dog fighters. You got two dog fighters that's coming in there to solidify themselves as the game changer. Teo's not going to lay down. Shakur is not going to lay down. It's going to be skill versus skill. Teo's a very talented, skillful fighter. Shakur is a very extremely talented, skillful fighter. And yes, we're going to see a hell of a great chess match that night.
Yeah, I believe so. Now, I think in your earlier predictions, you felt like Shakur will be stopping Teo? Am I right?
Annihilation, decapitation. Is that what you're talking about? You going back to my comments? Yeah. I feel like Teo's a very dominant force, but I just think that the skills of Shakur Stevenson is gonna overwhelm Teo. It's gonna overwhelm. Yeah. He's never seen this type of action before yet. No disrespect. Okay. It's my little man, you know what I'm saying? Just saying, yo, it is what it is.
Looking at, the stats, the resumes, we see that, Teo has been at this high level for a long time. When it comes to Shakur Stevenson, his amateur record speaks for itself, but at the same time, not necessarily getting the notable names that people know in America. People are also saying that they're kind of discrediting Shakur's resume, saying he hasn't really fought anybody. Teofimo Lopez would be that first person. Do you feel like that could be something that, I don't know, it could be a lot closer than what people think?
I mean, listen, the fight's going to be a lot closer than people think. We just blabbing our mouth and running off what we think our professional opinion is. These are two talented, great young fighters in here. You know what I'm saying? Teo's not going to back down. Shakur's not going to back down. We're going to get an exciting 12-round fights or however long it should last. We're going to have an exciting fight. And I'm expecting both guys.
Shakur Stevenson presents a challenge that very few fighters can solve. Rather than overpowering opponents with aggression or high volume, he asserts control in a far more subtle way. Stevenson focuses on closing openings instead of forcing action, gradually removing options and dictating the pace on his own terms. His defensive awareness, precise positioning, and impeccable timing make every exchange difficult to penetrate. Opponents are forced to work harder just to land clean shots, often growing frustrated as the rounds progress.
Fight 12, vote Teofimo Lopez. People love talking about this resume that Teofimo Lopez has. Granted, it's a really good resume. He has guys like Lomachenko under his belt, Josh Taylor. But if I'm being honest, Josh Taylor played into what Teofimo Lopez wanted him to do so perfectly. Lomachenko,
he lost that fight more than Teofimo won that fight, if I'm being honest. And against lower level competition, like a Steve Claggett, like a Jermaine Ortiz, like a Kambosos.
This approach makes Stevenson both frustrating and unpredictable inside the ring. He rarely reveals patterns, and when a rival begins to adjust, he adapts instantly. Against a fighter like Lopez, who relies on rhythm, confidence, and momentum, this style becomes particularly dangerous. Stevenson's ability to disrupt flow before it develops threatens to neutralize Lopez's natural strengths. What sets Stevenson apart further is his composure. He remains calm under pressure and seldom panics when situations change. This steadiness allows him to read opponents in real time and make small, decisive adjustments. Facing Stevenson demands patience, discipline, and emotional control, qualities that challenge even the most talented athletes. For Lopez, this fight is not just physical but a test of focus and restraint.
It was one fight in his whole life, and that was George Kambosos, and that's the only fight I'll give y'all. No matter who Shakur fought, he's looked great against everybody. No matter it's the bums that y'all say he fights or the #1 guys in the division, Shakur Stevenson has dominated everybody. It's gonna be a sight to see. Shakur Stevenson on fight night is going to make fireworks happen, and I can't wait to see it. I've already gave my stance on this, but Shakur Stevenson it's just his time. And
Lopez's career took a noticeable turn after his loss to George Kambosos, a moment that disrupted the momentum he once carried so confidently. Before that defeat, his performances displayed sharp focus and consistent execution. Since then, his results and displays in the ring have been uneven, with flashes of brilliance mixed with lapses in discipline. Yet, inconsistency should not be mistaken for a lack of threat. Lopez remains a dangerous fighter, particularly in the early stages of bouts when his energy is high and his belief fuels his offense.
For one shot, can you hurt him clean? He hasn't been a killer, as much of a killer at 140, and after Kambosos, he hasn't been the same in my opinion, but he's still explosive and still dangerous in the first 7 rounds, you know what I'm saying, first 8 rounds. So I think it's a good fight. I like the fight actually because of that. Teofimo got the explosive punching power on his side and good athleticism, and Shakur has the superior boxing IQ, good range, good distance. So it's great. It's good boxer versus good athlete at this point. So I like the fight. I don't say it's 50-50. I say it's 60-40 Shakur. But I like Teofimo's chances in this fight. You know what I'm saying? If Teofimo makes this a fight and comes out early and attacks and gets right up on
his greatest strength remains his ability to generate sudden power. Even when he seems out of rhythm or off balance, a single explosive movement can shift the momentum of a fight. This unpredictability keeps opponents constantly alert, never fully relaxed, because control can vanish in an instant. Analysts often note that while his dominance has fluctuated, his physical gifts remain intact. Speed, strength, and athleticism are still very much present. This combination creates a volatile profile, where moments of brilliance coexist with costly mistakes. Against a calm and composed fighter like Stevenson, that volatility becomes even more critical. It could produce a defining breakthrough if timed perfectly, or deepen frustration if patience and control are lost. If Stevenson maintains distance and dictates the pace, Lopez may find himself reaching, missing, and growing increasingly frustrated.
De Los Santos. You're going to see De Los Santos Part 2, and he's just going to get on his bicycle, which we don't want to see, or he's going to have to fight. And and I think Teofimo is a guy that can make Shakur fight, because he can cut off the ring well enough. You know what I'm saying? I think he can stay with him well enough where he can turn this into a fight, and it'll be exciting for him if he does. I think Shakur, like a lot of fighters, he needs this name in order to silence a lot of the naysayers. Because people talk a lot of shit about Shakur, especially after the De Los Santos fight. I don't think there's a beta fight took it off of him, even though they tried to make it seem like.
Tim Bradley sees this matchup as a clear contrast between two distinct fighting philosophies: raw explosiveness versus calculated control. From his perspective, Teofimo Lopez excels with sudden movements and sharp bursts of energy that generate offense out of nowhere. His speed and athleticism act as weapons, designed to overwhelm opponents before they can find a rhythm. Lopez aims to impose chaos early, forcing reactions and exploiting hesitation with power shots that can instantly alter the course of a fight.
Position to be able to land those shots. Footwork is extremely important. When I look at both these guys and I look at Shakur's footwork, I look at Teo's footwork, and what I noticed about Teo's footwork in particular is that in order to be able to throw with the amount of power that he has, I've noticed with Tio, there's always a subtle pause before he actually explodes. And Tio's a guy that likes to explode into contact, like to explode into his opponents, man, to land his offense. Fast, twitchy type muscles, fibers, he's extremely fast. Some may say that, his twitchiness kind of reminds him of like Roy Jones-esque type of, movements, how quick he's able to close.
According to Bradley, the outcome will not be determined by who throws more punches or displays greater aggression. Instead, victory will go to the fighter who controls how and where the fight is fought, dictating the rhythm and forcing the opponent to constantly adjust.
In position to be able to land those shots. Footwork is extremely important. When I look at both these guys and I look at Shakur's footwork, I look at Tio's footwork, and what I noticed about Tio's footwork in particular is that in order to be able to throw with the amount of power that he has, I've noticed with Tio, there's always a subtle pause before he actually explodes. And Tio's a guy that likes to explode into contact, like to explode into his opponents, man, to land his offense. Fast, twitchy type muscles, fibers, he's extremely fast. Some may say that, his twitchiness kind of reminds him of like Roy Jones-esque type of, movements, how quick he's able to close that distance on his opposition. However, he's in there with a guy that is a master at controlling distance. That's he's a master at literally, getting in his position, right? In a position where he wants to be and taking away your positioning. And with doing so, he takes away your feet, and that's why I think feet are going to be extremely important in this. If you can keep your opponent off balance, for instance, let me just give you an example. It's like Tio explodes. There's a subtlety before he explodes with his offense. And as soon as Shakur sees that, he's anticipating something to come. He knows he's going to explode in. So what does Shakur do? Tio takes a big...
In discussing the upcoming fight, Stevenson carries himself with calm assurance. He does not shy away from criticism, nor does he appear rattled by doubt. Instead, he frames the matchup as another step in his progression. His confidence stems from preparation rather than bravado. Stevenson speaks as someone, comfortable with scrutiny, believing his skills will speak louder than opinions. This mental stability may prove crucial when facing a fighter as emotionally charged as Lopez. Stevenson's ability to remain composed under pressure suggests he is prepared for both the physical and psychological challenges that this fight presents.
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that Tio has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terrence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
Can't even hang with him.
Yeah, he's too little. Bud is too big for him.
Right. As far as skills, though, do you think he's on par with the likes of Terrence?
I'm not going to say he's on a Terrence Crawford level of skills, but he's very skillful. He got a lot of things with him that puts him at a high level.
One thing that was interesting to me was it seemed like you were going to move on from Matchroom, but now Eddie Hearn is involved in this, and this is a Matchroom event, it seems like. I know it's a ring card too, but he's promoting it here in the United States. So what is the state of your relationship with Eddie and Matchroom at this point?
Eddie's my guy. I'm actually not signed to Matchroom, but he's my guy. I'm a big fan of Eddie Hearn, and nothing but respect to him, but I'm glad he's the promoter that's on this card. I'm glad to share the spotlight with his promotional company.
So if he's your guy, how come you're not signed to Matchroom?
I mean, it's just business. If it makes sense, then I will. If it come down to it and that's what makes sense, then we'll do it. But right now, I don't think it makes sense.
Okay, so are you just more of like your own man at this point? Your own entity?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Do you negotiate with the ring people, with Turkey? You just do that yourself?
No, me